Will you all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. You all set, Charles?
Fine.
There we go.
It's funny, let me just say, you say that all the time, and people say, but there's nobody at your meetings, and they don't realize they're off in the corner off camera. There's 75 people off camera. All right, a few less than 75.
73.
Give or take. I never was the best counter.
Okay, can
Once
I
in a
get
while.
a roll call?
Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. D'Andriano?
Here.
Mr. Rogan?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here. Councilwoman Smith was here earlier, but was not feeling well and opted very wisely, I believe, to go home. So we will miss her tonight.
I think we had to force her to go home.
Yeah, we actually threw her out. Okay, Don, would you like to read the public notice?
Yes. Town of Patterson, notice of hearing, amendments to Chapter 154 of the Patterson Town Code. Public notice is hereby given that there has been introduced before the Town Board of the Town of Patterson, New York on March 13, 2019, an amendment to Patterson Town Code Chapter 154 entitled Zoning, which amendment to this zoning map established pursuant to 154-6 will revise the zoning boundaries for the RPL-10 and GB zoning districts for tax map lot 36.48-1-14 by changing the zoning designations of this lot from RPL-10 to GB. Now therefore, pursuant to Section 20 of the Municipal Home Rule Law, the Town Board of the Town of Patterson, New York will hold a public hearing on the aforesaid amendment at the town offices, 1142 Route 311, Patterson, New York, on April 24, 2019, at 7 p.m. in the evening of that day, or as soon thereafter as may be heard, at which time all persons interested therein shall be heard. The Town Board will make every effort to assure that the hearing is accessible to persons with disabilities. Anyone requiring special assistance and/or reasonable accommodations should contact the Town Clerk. By order of the Town Board, Antoinette Kopek, Town Clerk.
I would ask that anybody that has any comment on this proposed change to our zoning code and zoning map, if you would approach the mic and state your name for the record. And mad rush ensued. Can I get a motion on to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Someone like to audit the bills?
I will. I'll make a motion to Town Board approve abstract number 7 dated April 12th, 2019, in the amount of $180,448.28. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We
Okay.
have a budget transfer.
So we only have one budget transfer tonight. This is budget transfer request number 8 of 2019. This budget request is necessary to reallocate funds for the Putnam Lake Park District Liability Insurance Contractual Account and policy allocation. It's going from park contractual to liability insurance contractual in the amount of $790. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Rogan, you're up.
Okay. So we have been speaking last meeting and I believe a bit before about changes to our town policy on comp time and non-compensatory. I know that was the tongue twister lesson.
Non-compensatory.
Our supervisor had drafted some changes which we had spoken about last meeting. There are minor changes to it, but I think at this point, I believe everybody's had a chance to look and we're in fair agreement on this.
I believe so. If I could just jump in.
Please.
I have provided everybody a couple of minor modifications. I took the opportunity prior to this meeting to review it one more time and realized some of the things that I was trying to do weren't worded quite correctly, and I improved on the wording, I believe. They're all highlighted in yellow. If you have any questions.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's the intent of what we were trying to achieve, and if we have Don review it just to make sure that there's not any glaring issues with the wording, I think we'd be fine.
Charles?
And I have one comment, like the supervisor, I was rereading this, and I would suggest that in the second paragraph there, big paragraph, go down there where we said the maximum amount of hours that may be accumulated is 60 hours. I would suggest that we change that to 35 hours. 60 to me seems like a high number, and 35 ties in with the work week here. So it's kind of like if you're going to accumulate them, yeah, up to 1 week's time to me seems sufficient. But I can be had on any number, but 35 just seems a tie-in with the standard work week here.
So would you go for 70?
I would.
Standard 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it just would make sense.
Makes sense.
I would prefer to 35, but you could talk about a full payroll period, yeah.
Is everybody, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go right ahead.
Is everybody at a 35-hour work week, or?
Not everybody is
Right.
35-hour weeks, no.
Yeah.
It's a highway, right?
That's why, you know, one of the changes I made later on was to take something similar out and add in, you know, hours worked rather than, you know, a particular time.
Yeah. Well, look, this is a change from what we've had in the past, which has created problems for people. Any number, regardless of what we put on, is going to be better. I'm not tied to any number. I think it's good that we have people that are willing to put in the effort to do a great job, make the town a better place. We want to compensate them for their time and allow them to use it when it's most appropriate, rather than forcing them to use it within such a short duration. So I'm in favor of this, regardless of the hours that we set, because we can, if we find problems, we can change the accumulated hours at any time.
And honestly, I was actually torn between going with, you know, a standard work week, which is 35, or actually 2 weeks, which is 70, which is where I came up with the 60. Split the baby.
All right,
Well,
fair
if we
enough.
go with 35, I mean, it doesn't matter
Doesn't
what
really
number we come up with, because we could always change it, you know,
Yes.
up or down.
Yeah.
So my take would be 35 as a preference with a max of 70, but I don't care, whatever you guys want.
Peter?
I don't have any preference on that. I think this is great. I mean, every time someone puts in for flex time, it's always an issue, and we're always trying to. So I think this is great. Yeah, I'd be fine with anything 35. I'd like to be able, you know, it all depends though on their position. I think how much you can build up. So
Yeah.
some people, you know, 35 is good. They probably shouldn't keep building up more because of their position, and then some people, it probably wouldn't hurt if they built up a lot.
You know, I completely agree, and I think it comes back, and we had this conversation somewhat on a separate issue on program coverage, right? At the end of the day, we need to make sure that there's program coverage, that the town functions as it's supposed to. So if someone's going to build up the time, that doesn't automatically mean they can take it whenever they want. There's still a pre-authorization that's required to take time off. You don't leave a department where the department can't function and be of service to the community. That's with the supervisor or the program department head's authorization to make sure that their department functions properly. So I'm fine with the accumulation as long as we remember the intent still is to provide great customer service to our residents and provide. So I wouldn't be in favor if it was, hey, I have this time, we're gonna, you know, shut an office down for the day. No, that's not acceptable. So my 2 cents.
All right, so let's try to 35.
Okay.
Then my only other suggestion is we approve this subject to review and approval by the town attorney and HR consulting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Alrighty, thank you. So next item, based on the public hearing that we just had, and or the maybe lack thereof, with public comment, we have the local law number 1 of 2019. And this is to formally pass the resolution which would adopt the zoning amendments that have been discussed. This is not a huge deal. It relates really to affecting one property for some additional parking. And so I will introduce resolution of adoption, local law number 1 of 2019, and ask that it be entered into the record as though read. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
just to acknowledge, this also includes a negative secret determination.
Yeah, it's a type 1
Type
action,
one.
correct?
Type
Yes.
one, yeah.
Okay. Next item is our annual, the most exciting thing on the agenda. Sorry, Richie. The annual stormwater report for the town of Patterson. We put this out every year for public review and comment. We have the option of either putting it up on our town website or holding a public hearing. I think it makes sense to do both. We can put it up on the town website. We can also hold a public hearing on, what would the date of that be? Would be the next meeting, or May 21st? Until Friday, May 21st, so it'd be the meeting after that, right?
No, we have to have it done by May 21st.
Okay,
I
so.
don't think I put a date in here for a meeting.
So May, does anybody have a calendar?
May 8th.
We could do it at the next meeting,
Okay.
April 24th. I do have a date in here. That's the one for the public hearing. Flip the page.
April.
Today is April 24th.
That's tonight.
April 24th.
Yeah, but that's tonight. That's not the
Yeah,
the
that's
date.
not.
That's why I stumbled on it.
You're right.
Okay, so for the review of the annual stormwater management program for the town of Patterson, I'll make a motion that we post it to the Patterson website for public review in anticipation of a public hearing to be held at the next town board meeting, May 7th? 8th? Thank you so much, Sue. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And electronic waste.
Electronic
That's
waste,
e-waste.
we're back.
We
Actually,
are
I
back.
need to steal this back from you because we didn't have the conversation. So I've talked to a few of my fellow supervisors, and apparently they are going to jump ship and not go along with this. They've already entered into side agreements. That is all subject to a meeting on Friday that we didn't think we were going to have on shared services, where we're going to rehash this a little bit. But having heard from a couple of my fellow supervisors throughout the county and realizing they were not going to go along with the program, I was bringing it back before the board so that we could make a motion to approve New Tech Recycling, or whoever the board felt was appropriate.
All source environmental, that,
That's a county bid based on all 6 towns cooperating and working together.
and
We don't
the
have
other
that.
5 guys have bailed.
Well, not the other 5, but I believe at least 2 of them have.
So that number goes up.
Would not be held, yeah.
Would have to go up.
Yep, it would have to go up.
So hopefully on Friday, we can either come to some resolution and sway them, the betterment of the entire county, or
Would you like to table this till next
I
meeting?
think we have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motion to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. That's a shame.
And if I could add possibly one item.
Sure.
We have a request from Matt Chavarro for first aid CPR training. And I would like to approve his request to hire Angel Care Safety for providing the American Safety and Health Institute Wilderness First Aid Training and CPR for professional rescuer. The cost is $100 per person. So I'll make that motion. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I will recuse myself from that one.
Okay.
Okay, so first on my agenda is a change that the state legislature has made to election law, which now gives off, upon request, any government employee 3 hours either before their normal workday or 3 hours at the end of their normal workday so that they may vote. Where I foresee this going is everybody's going to make sure they're registered anyway. And certainly if, and it is with pay. So certainly I believe that every town employee is going to be asking to go home 3 hours early with pay so that they can go vote, because they'd actually have to be crazy not to. But they don't have to tell us that they're going to do this until 2 days before the day of the election, both primary and general election. What I foresee happening is the week of the election, or the week just before, I'm going to get a lot of notices from a lot of employees, and basically I'm gonna be closing the building anyway.
Can I ask, did we used to, in the town, I don't know, have election day off? Was that a
It used to be,
holiday?
it used to be a holiday because we were using the town hall as a polling place.
Ah, okay.
So,
I know that we used to have that day off in the county many years ago, and then it went to only presidential years, and then they negotiated it away at some point for various reasons. Okay.
so there's no real rush on acting on this, but my recommendation is we just opt to close town hall on election day 3 hours early.
That's fine. Yeah.
Primary in general.
Primary and general.
Mhm.
Anytime there's a primary and general election.
Mhm. Yeah.
Not school board.
Not school boards. School boards weren't included in this.
Right.
Mhm.
Why don't we just do it tonight?
Fine, I'd like to make a motion that we designate primary and had primary and general elections as well, we closed town hall 3 hours early on all primary and general elections.
Second, for just quick discussion,
Go
or
ahead.
point of clarification, this primary day this year, we don't have any primaries in the county, so, or at least in Patterson, no, in the county, so we would not, it wouldn't apply if
It
it's,
would not
even though
apply.
it's an election day or it's scheduled, if it doesn't apply, obviously it's.
So,
But they don't all live in the town.
Oh, that's a good
So
point.
If they live
That's
in,
true, too.
live in Pauling,
Good point.
and
That's
there's
true.
a primary in Pauling,
Good point.
so we might as well just do it primary and general
Let's do it.
elections.
and do they, I didn't read it closely, but do they have the option of 3 hours? Did it say before or at the beginning of theirs? 3 hours at the beginning, 3 hours at the end? Is that an option for them?
That- I believe
Or is
that
that an
is
option for us to give them?
Well, I believe by taking this action that it closes the door.
Mm.
If somebody wants to challenge, then let them challenge. But this whole thing is, and to me, an absolutely absurd change made by our state legislature, where there's more than adequate time for a 9 to 5 employee to vote between the hours of 6 and 9, which is when polling. They have the ability now to vote early. They can vote by absentee ballot. There's more than enough avenues for an employee to vote, and now we have to give them 3 hours off paid at the expense of the taxpayers. This is absurd.
Agreed.
So I think this short circuits are having a situation where I can't keep town hall closed because I can't staff it.
At least in this case, we're putting the public on notice that town hall will be closed on these days for these hours, so that we have plenty of force. That the problem is when this happens the way it's currently, being considered, we could end up a day before where all of a sudden we don't have people to staff. And that's assuming that people would take advantage of it and say, hey, I need an hour to go vote, You really don't know what the response would be, so we're kind of trying to fix it before we know what the problem is, but I understand the approach.
Rich, does it extend to other offices? It's been proposed that it's only town hall,
Only government.
justice court.
Well, no, it would extend to
Other
all
all employees.
town hall employees, which basically extends it to court, and to full-time,
Okay.
Recreation.
the recreation staff.
Highway, sanitation.
Now, let's be clear on that, because at this point, it does not extend to highway employees because they're governed by a separate contract.
Mhm.
So, and again, the state legislature never, thinking things through, this is going to affect a lot of union contracts. But we haven't had that conversation yet with the union, and I need to do that, I recognize that.
All right.
The rec center is a polling place. Do we staff that? Rec center staff?
It is staffed. It has to be staffed while the polls are open, yes.
Yeah.
So, for the most part, we're staffing it with part-time people. I mean, Dennis will come in, open up early, and work his normal hours. So that's not gonna be an issue. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, next on my agenda is the EMS facility. The town board received the latest conceptual plans from our architect at the last meeting. I wanted to give them some time to review it. So everybody had a chance to take a look at it. Does anybody have any comments?
I only had the question about laundry facilities, if
Yep.
we can add that somewhere. And then I did the site walk 2 weeks ago, to really consider where this would go on property, and I liked your idea for placement. I thought that pulling the structure as close to the parking lot out front would be great. So I agree with your ideas, Rich.
Okay. Great. Charlie, Pete?
I agree. I think, as we said, we talked about last time, I liked how moving it forward and the property makes more sense. I like the layout of
Also
this.
pulls it away from the wetlands a little bit
Right.
as well,
Yep.
so we're being conscientious about that, so.
I guess to do a laundry room, you'd have to take it from one of the storage.
True, but we've got two very large storage areas. One of them we're going to cannibalize a little bit for utilities, heat, water.
Right. But no, it's a really nice layout.
And, even so, the sleeping areas, the kitchen, they're all very large. So we've got room to play.
So what we need is a cost projection to do this, right?
Yeah. So the next step is we'll firm up the design details and the site work. I will get the building actually placed on the site, on the site plan, and make sure the board is okay with that. And then I will be reaching out to regulatory agencies to make sure they're okay.
Question, do you envision this being a truss roof design or rafters?
I would assume it was going to be truss. That's pretty much what everybody's doing these days. Do you have a preference?
No, I was just wondering if we could get any usable storage space in the attic, even though it's not going to be a very steep roof line. We might be able to get some additional storage, with whether it's a pull-down set, something for things that they might want to store that aren't needed on a daily. There might be some room for some just basic storage, in the.
I'll talk to
center.
the architect about
Okay.
what the cost might be for both options.
Okay. Well, even with trusses, sometimes there's an ability there to have some usable space, depending on how they're spec'd out, right? Okay, just a thought.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Traffic consultant, Northeast Logistics. Don, I know you had a conversation with the attorney for the applicant on some legal issues. Do you want me to table this till after we have that discussion? Do you want to have a discussion?
I'm happy to have the discussion with it. I think we should have a good, clear idea of what the board's intentions are and how we should proceed, because that will impact how we're going to be monitoring the continued processing of the FEIS for the project. So it might be appropriate for executive session to discuss it.
Okay, so then I'm going to table this after executive session, but before I do that, just so everybody in the public knows, this is in response to a project that's down in the town of Southeast, where we anticipate that a lot of the traffic may be channeled back through the town of Patterson on Fields Corners Road. And we foresee that there would be a very huge impact to that road, which they are not proposing to do any improvements on whatsoever. In response, the town has reached out to some traffic consultants. We've got 3 proposals back in. We've got a proposal to take a look at the traffic analysis that was completed for the environmental impact statement by Mazer Consulting at $5,700, Provident Design Engineering for $6,500, and Frederick P. Clark at $8,500. It was my intent tonight, and probably will be later, to ask the board to approve Mazer Consulting to review and analyze the traffic analysis that was done as part of the environmental impact statement. But I will hold that motion until after we talk to our attorney.
Just one quick question.
Yes.
Obviously, the applicant over there in Southeast, they have their traffic study, right?
They do have their traffic study.
Have you been, has that been shared with you?
Yes, it's up online.
It's on their
Anybody can
website,
read it.
yeah.
So, and I have reviewed it, and I am disturbed by it.
And you were quoted in the paper as such. That was a great article, yeah. Holly,
I haven't got it, I know it's in the paper, I haven't got a chance to read it.
Yeah, no, she did a great article on it.
Okay.
It was good.
Essentially, their traffic consultant says that the level of service at the intersection of Pugsley Road and 312 is going to decline to a level of service D, which, you know, is not a good level. That they're going to be releasing 650 cars onto Pugsley Road. They're going to substantially improve Pugsley Road. They're going to have a number of tractor trailers involved in all this delivering. And they think that nobody is going to come out of this facility and turn right and travel down Fields Corners Lane as a shortcut, because they might live in the town of Kent or they might live in Lower Dutchess. And we all know that a lot of the employees from this facility are going to be living in those areas.
Or even 5 o'clock when the traffic's backed up,
That's right.
instead of waiting and sitting in
Yeah.
traffic, waiting to get on 84, they can take the shortcut,
Yeah.
jump on Fair Street and jump on 84.
Well, same could be said for the tractor trailers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And combine that with the fact that we've got George Fisher Middle School out there and all the school traffic, you know, during times when school is in operation. You know, I foresee that this is going to be a real problem in that area. Their traffic consultant came back and said that there's not going to be any increase, not zero increase, on the intersection of Fields Corners Road and Fair Street. That this project is not going to channel any traffic into the town of Patterson whatsoever.
And that's not a great intersection as it is. It's like it's not a T intersection. It's kind of.
Well, I think their
An angle.
plan is to do a turnabout.
Which intersection?
No, I'm
are we
talking about Fair Street.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, you're right, absolutely right.
Yeah.
George, you can speak more than anyone about how a back road becomes a shortcut, because you've seen it on a daily basis, haven't you?
Yeah, I thought it was great when they paved the road, found out it wasn't so great.
No, it's
A
not.
lot cleaner.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay, hold it.
Please,
Which,
come on up.
to the mic.
and before George talks, we basically have just discussed what we probably would have been discussing in executive session, so that might be moot. I don't think there's any problem if you want Rich to, we could describe the sheriff's
Well,
input. And
The only thing is, I know what the attorney told you today, so that may, George, don't go away.
Yeah, sorry,
Go ahead.
We want
sorry,
you,
George.
That may,
It wasn't that important.
No, but,
Sean, from what I understand at the last meeting that they had, they were doing away with the roundabout.
oh, okay.
oh, no, it's gone. It's
It's
gone.
back on?
No. The roundabout is gone. The DOT
Thank you.
reversed their position. Sorry, Don.
That's okay.
The
yeah.
DOT reversed their position. It is now a signalized intersection. So, I know kind of
Thank you.
the gist of what you're gonna tell everybody else. It may influence their decision about whether to go forward with this.
Okay,
I mean,
and I do think, I think number one, it would be almost negligent, I think, for the board not to do its own traffic study, given what we all see as jumping off the page as to problems for impacts on potential impacts on the town. So I think that's a key thing. That also is the basis that we can go into executive session to discuss it, because we may be at loggerheads with the town of Southeast in its review. And it's an appropriate matter in the, hopefully, we don't have to do it, but the likelihood or potential for litigation is
Sure.
really the basis, so.
Why
we
is
can-
money spent now?
Oh, I think so.
Support later.
I think
Yeah.
so. And Rich is referring to a conversation I've had with the developer's attorney today, so we can discuss that.
And I think to make it clear to the public, we're not against the project. Well, at least, I don't know, I can't speak on everybody else, but I don't think we're not fighting the project. We just want to make sure that our residents are safe and our roadways are safe.
Correct.
Yep, agreed.
Does anybody know if on Pugsley Road are there residential homes?
No,
No.
No.
not only on our end, on Fields Lane.
Yeah.
There's
Fields Corners
Fields
Road.
Corner Road, there's.
It's
4
a
or
very
5.
short stretch, Charlie, from the town line, out basically past the proposed project.
So there are residents on Pugsley Road. There are houses
No, yeah, but
that
not.
were, apparently they're not rented at this point,
Boy, they put
because they do
concrete
close the
bollards
road.
across
Yeah.
the road there, yeah. number of years. It's been about 7, 8 years, I think.
that Southeast has been closing this road, but in the not too distant future, I do know that there were people renting some of those, there's 1 or 2 houses and they're
Yeah.
older buildings, but they were being rented.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, moving on, 131 Commerce Drive, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So, for everybody's information, 131 Commerce Drive is the lot at the end of Commerce Drive, Patterson Interstate Business Park. Back in the late 80s into the early 90s, the owners of the lot, or at least one of the owners, there were 3 owners, one of the owners allowed a sanitation company to deposit all sorts of C&D waste on the site. At the time, the town did not have any regulations which would stop the dumping onto the site. We were begging, because I was around at that point, we were begging the DEC to step in and stop the dumping because they were dumping all sorts of not so nice things out there. DEC refused to take any action until they started dumping red bag medical wastes on the site. At which time the DEC decided, well, it's enough is enough, and they closed them down and made them put a soil cap over and then required them to do a closure plan. Well, of course, the site isn't worth anything at that point. They all just threw their hands up and kind of walked away. And at this point, my understanding is that 2 of the owners have passed on, and the 3rd owner is not in the best of health. And so the town has been stuck with this site for many, many years, and one of the problems we have is that prior to dumping, they installed a pipe under the area that they filled in to drain a wetland on one side of the site to a wetland on the other side of the site. They did a lousy job putting the pipe in, and there's been a lot of infiltration into the pipe from leachate from the landfill, so that at the outfall to this pipe, if you actually go out there and you can smell the odor of the material coming out, it's god awful. Nobody can do anything about it at this point. DEC has refused to do anything about it. Town hasn't been able to convince anybody else to do anything about it. I recently found a developer who was willing to go in and do the closure, get rid of the pipe, cap it off, and talk about remediating some of the site in exchange for him having assurances that he was going to get a reasonable level of development from a portion of the site. It was a win-win for all of us, and the only outstanding problem is the back taxes, because nobody's paid taxes since 1991. And so there's this outstanding liability that I was hoping to work with the county, and had sent letters over the county asking for a meeting so we could have a further discussion. Lo and behold, I get a phone call from the DEC. They decided, just out of the blue, to test some of the monitoring wells that were out there, and again found some things that were not so nasty. And I believe I provided that information to the board. I think I need to, did I email it to you? Because you're never going to read it based on what I gave you. Yeah, so make sure, if I haven't emailed it to you, remind me. But that's all the sampling results from the sampling, and based on what they found in the monitoring wells, including PFOAs, which is an up-and-coming issue.
Sure.
They have referred it back to the Division of Remediation to further evaluate whether the DEC needs to step in and list this as a Superfund site.
Wow.
So that is the status on this.
So the brakes are on.
Yeah, brakes are on a little bit, but at the end of the day, this may end up working to be a win-win.
Yeah.
If we can get it moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
On a little bit of a side note, I mentioned PFOAs. That's a new constituent in groundwater, stormwater, that comes from man-made products, plastics, that is of increasing concern. I believe the EPA has adopted now a drinking water standard of 70 milligrams per liter. Well, New York, not to be outdone, has adopted a standard, or is looking at a standard of 10 milligrams per liter. So if we find that we have PFOAs, we're going to be treating water all over the place. What they've been finding is that 23% of all the water supplies have PFOAs in them. And at a minimum, I believe we're going to be testing for PFOAs. And the test is about $400 a test. So
Good to know for budget time.
good to know for budget time. So I've been following up on that.
Did you hear back from the county exec on waiving taxes or anything?
No, I have not. I've got about 3 requests in with the county exec, and I haven't heard back on one of them.
Okay.
So, that being said, I would like to add an item to my agenda also. I would like to add an executive session to discuss the Northeast logistic issue, and also I have a personnel issue that came up in the last couple of days I would like to appraise the board on.
Great.
Fine.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Mary Smith, as I noted earlier, went home. At this point, I just assume table the lifeguard program unless anybody wants to discuss it.
Is there anything new on it?
We're still working through some things. We've got a couple of more applications in, and the program is actually starting to gel, which I'm very happy about.
How about the training?
I have not firmed up with who is doing the training at this point.
So there's no action we need to take that needs to be done immediately?
Nope.
Are we
Not at this
okay
point.
on reimbursing lifeguards for certification, recertification?
I think we were all in agreement on it. It was a matter of when we were doing it on what. I think that was the discussion we were kind of in disagreement on, was when they got reimbursed.
How many hours
I
they
know that
had?
I was of the opinion that they should have a qualifier of at least doing some I agreed with Rich that what's to stop somebody from getting a certification and then saying, you know what, I decided I'm not going to work for the town this summer.
Mhm.
You know, I'm going to go work for Jefferson Valley Racquetball Club or something. I think a simple qualifier that we reimburse them as a merit, a performance-based incentive is not a lot to ask. I'm not saying, I think your numbers were very, very easy to make. You know, work the shifts that, you know, you're saying you're committing to, and then we're happy to give you that. It's almost like a forced savings plan. They'll end up with $500 midway through the summer, or, you know. And I
Okay.
think by changing our policy for paying the guards for the shifts, whether the beach is open or closed, having that assurance that we have the safety measures in place to keep people out of the water when they're not supposed to be in, I think it's still money well spent for the town.
I agree, but are we okay on full reimbursement?
I am, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
As long as they put in,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
target number of
they
hours,
could
yeah.
get it at the end of the season,
Absolutely.
or 2/3 of the way through, or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that. Okay.
Great.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay?
Yeah.
Cool.
So, the town board has recently interviewed 4 different individuals. They have a very tough decision in front of them right now, because we interviewed 4 really, really qualified candidates for the zoning board of appeals.
It's a good problem to have.
It is, but it's also a difficult problem to have, because we do have to choose one of them. Any one of them would serve this town well, and you know, hopefully we're going to be able to utilize the talents that we have recently seen on other boards, and perhaps in the future on the zoning board and the planning board. But we do have to make a decision, and I think there was just one gentleman that kind of rose above everybody else, but not by a whole lot. So I would like to introduce a resolution of appointment for a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals to fill an unexpired term that ends on December 31st, 2023. And I would like to appoint Mike Scrow to that position and enter this resolution as though read into the minutes of the town board meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Problem.
last, on Mary's agenda, we're trying to get Club Court Park ready for the spring opening. We have got the water in. It looks very, very nice. They did a great job doing it. Next meeting, we'll be coming back to the board with some quotes on fixing some of the playground equipment out there. I'm not happy with some of the pricing we've been getting. It's fairly expensive, but it is what it is, and we do need to make some improvements out there. But right now, before the town board tonight, we have a couple of issues. First is putting down playground mulch, and we have to purchase that mulch separately, independently. And so I'd like to make a motion that we approve Ferris Mulch Products to provide 65 yards of playground mulch at a cost of $21 per cubic yard for a total price of $1,365. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We also need to hire somebody to spread the 65 yards of mulch. We've got a few quotes here, and I'd like to approve Landscape Concepts for the amount of $1,385 to spread the mulch over the playground area. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That is it. Peter, you're up.
The first item I have are recreation requests. First, I have a memo here from Matt Chabarber, our Recreation Director. A request for the waiver for the library for the fees to use the gym. Patterson Library has requested the use of Gym C as a backup location for one of their community events this summer. It is a big band concert. The space would only be used in case of rain or extreme weather. The event is free and open to the public. This event will last 2 hours and finish within our normal business hours. We can open the concession stand during the event. So it is a free event, and it also could give the rec center some revenue if they open the concession stand, which is a good thing. So he also says the Patterson Library participates in our community events, Easter extravaganza, Fall Festival, Breakfast with Santa, and provides library and activity time for the summer day camp. So I'd like to make a motion to approve to waive the fees for the use of Gym C. It doesn't have a date though, does it?
A date to be announced on our website.
So,
Second.
All in favor?
aye. Next is another request for the waiver of fees from Matt Chabarro for the duffel bag in the American Veterans Historical Museum. They'd like to host 2 big band concerts at the Recreation Center. First one scheduled for July 13th, and that will be the Southern Duchess Concert Band, and the second is tentatively scheduled for August 5th, and that will be the 42nd Infantry Band. So both concerts are free, open to the public. So Matt Chabarro is recommending that we waive the fee for the gym for both these concerts. So I'd like to make a motion to waive the fee for both these concerts. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I can tell you, I've been to both of these concerts. We do them every year. They're just really, really great. Great concerts, and I encourage everybody to go. And like to extend my personal thanks to the Duffel Bag, Jeannie, and Brian, for putting them on. They do a great job.
Took the words right out of my mouth, literally. Okay, next I have, there's a new program that Matt Chabarro is requesting for us, we have to approve the fees. So they will be offering Gaelic football program for the first time this spring. Gaelic football is a fast-paced sport, originally originated in Ireland and has gained popularity in the United States. I have been seeing a lot of it lately, a lot of leagues popping up, so it is becoming more popular. Players will run, dribble, pass, and kick the ball in order to score a goal. So this is a 6-week program for children 6 to 12. It will teach participants all the necessary skills used to play the game. So the cost is, so do you have a question?
No.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the cost of $60 per participant for the Gaelic football program.
Second.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
My brother actually played on a Gaelic football league at a Mayapack.
Oh, yeah?
It's gotta be 40, 35 years ago. They played on a travel team. Yeah, it was done through one of the Irish pubs in Mahopac.
Yeah,
Mahopac.
60, yeah.
Yeah.
The Irish pub.
The Irish pub.
Yeah, I knew a couple people that played.
Honestly, this is the first time I've heard of it.
Yeah.
It's a tough sport. It's,
I can imagine.
yeah, but it's good. I'm glad it's
You
come.
can catch it sometimes on ESPN.
Really?
Yep.
All right, next request I have for program prices for a bunch of programs upcoming: Edible Creations, Kids Cook Pizza Night, Soccer, Adult Basketball, Tag Sale, Body Burn, and Gaelic, the Gaelic football. So we already approved the Gaelic football prices, but I'd like to make a motion to approve all the prices listed for these programs. So
Second, for clarification, obviously body burn is aerobic and not like, tattooing and body piercings and things like that, right? So,
I would hope so.
we hope so.
So
Second. Ah,
you want me
it's
to-
in there. Oh, it's just extra stuff.
Next announcement I have at the rec center. The rec center for the first time is doing a bicycle rodeo for children ages 5 to 14 years old. It's going to provide bicycle training, bicycle education. It's a great event. It's sponsored in conjunction with the Vassar Brothers Medical Center, Health Quest, which is now New Vance, and the Dutchess County Traffic Safety Board. And even though we're in Putnam County, the Dutchess County Traffic Safety Board is generously letting us use their trailer. They have a trailer set up for bike rodeos with all the equipment, signs, and everything else. And Vassar and Health Quest will be providing bicycle helmets for the kids and so on. And Pauling Cycle is going to be there as well, checking bicycles. And this is all for free. It is it's going to teach kids to learn to follow the rules of the road in a fun group setting. Includes complimentary bike helmet for attendees 5 to 12. Kids under 5 can ride with their parents' supervision in the OK Corral. So they're not going to go through the full bike rodeo. They're going to be off to the side. And like I said, Pauling Cycle will be checking their...
These are really popular. These are great.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've been doing these around Westchester, Dutchess County, and we finally are able to bring it to Patterson. So I think it's going to be a great event. It's Thursday, May 9th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We found that during the work week, during the evenings, a better time. Saturdays, everyone's got soccer, Gaelic football, lacrosse, and everything else. So we're doing it in the evening at the Patterson Rec Center. So more information, you can go on the Patterson Rec Center website. Next, I have a resignation, letter of resignation. I have a memo from Denise Montana, our EMS administrator. The memo states, I'm seeking approval of resignation request made by Cooper Cardenas, effective 4/27/2019. So we have his written request of resignation, and it's due to his paramedic student requirements. So he's been very busy with his becoming a paramedic, and there's a lot of time that's spent with rotations and stuff like that. So he's unable to fulfill his duties with the town EMS. So we wish him luck. We wish him well on his future endeavors.
Very good.
Do we have to make a motion to approve that? Or?
No.
Okay, next I have a memo from the supervisor here about the Putnam Lake Park District beach electric quotes. We have several quotes. We have quotes for Warren Beach and Jackson Beach. It's pretty pricey to do both of them. So with some discussion, we were talking, we should probably, I guess we need to do Warren Beach, right, Rich?
We really need to do Warren Beach because we need the electric out there for a charging station and for some of the other events that they do out there. So we really need to get that done. But we've had some issues this year with some of the expenditures, and we don't want to catch ourselves short. So my recommendation is that we just focus on Warren Beach.
So I'd like to make a motion, and we have a resolution here. We have some bids. The lowest bid was from Healy Electric. So I would like to make the motion just to do the Warren Beach. So that would be, for Healy Electric, that'd be $3,500. So I'd like to make a motion to submit this resolution as read into the minutes to award Healy Electric for the electrical lighting, LED lighting on Warren Beach for the amount of $3,500. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You okay?
I'm okay, just to make sure that the resolution is read.
Minus the.
Corrected,
other-
minus Jackson
I was
Beach.
reading it, yeah.
Correct.
Good.
And that is all I have for now.
Okay.
Next, we have a number of senior trip requests, and I'll take them by the dates that they come up, and our approval will be based on the price of the tickets, the transportation, as well. I think I got that right, Bruce? Just the transportation and the cost of the program. Okay.
Yes.
The first one, and I'm not sure where this is at, but boy, does this sound good. Lobster Feast with the Riverboat Ramblers on July 16th. And the net cost to the budget is $1,920. I'll make a motion that we approve that trip request. So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
How old do you have to be to go to these things?
Next,
Well, I think we just dropped the age to 35, so I can go.
Me too.
that was the Putnam Lake senior request. Next, we have from the senior request from the Recreation Department.
Wait, we need to also approve the rate, and we need to approve the bus company.
I think
We
that's what
talked
I
about
asked.
it earlier.
That's what I asked.
So,
All right.
So, I'm sorry, on this one, we don't have, my apologies, on this one, we don't have the bus company, but we do have to approve the rate.
The rate of,
$48 for this, per senior.
okay,
Yeah.
$48 per senior.
because
Okay.
the amount is going to change.
All right.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
All in
Next,
favor?
aye.
Do we have a second?
I'll
Second.
second. Or we'll both second.
Double
Moving right along.
Moving right along. Trying to find out if we have,
The seniors are gonna be having a good time.
Well, they deserve it.
I don't see the bus company here.
It's on the back.
Yeah.
Which one are you looking at?
I'm looking at the request to go to the Westchester Broadway Theater on August 8th, 2018.
Okay. So,
There's the amount, there's the bus company.
Okay, so I'll make a I don't have this, sorry. The motion to approve the the trip to the Westchester Broadway Theater on August 8th in the amount of $1,327, which covers seniors paying $45 per senior, and the bus company rate of $810, JTR Transportation. So moved.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
roll with it.
It's gotta be the same.
Yeah, we would hope so. Same trip, same place.
All right, well,
Did you approve-
next we have,
Wait, did you approve the event and the rate?
thought I did.
Did they approve the event and the rate? I don't think you did the event and the rate.
The event
Just
was
the transportation.
This one?
here,
This
and the
one?
rate was
No, he did.
$45,
This
right?
was approved already?
And I did that.
Just the amount is incorrect because they didn't include the, so she's just asking him to approve the revised amount.
The conversation I had with our controller was she wants the rate and she wants the amount and the event and the bus company.
On the new approval, so that's a prior
Yeah, so that's a different.
So that's okay, I understand what you're saying then. All right,
All right.
so we've got that. Moving on.
Right along.
Which one are you doing next?
I am doing the senior trip to AquaTurf,
Okay.
September 17th. 44 seniors at $33 per senior. The net cost of the budget is $1,280, including $810 for the JTR Transportation Company.
840.
That's what I said, right? So moved.
Wow. No,
This
you're
is,
on the wrong list. That's not,
Oh.
yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
It was
All right.
840.
Okay, so we're good.
All right.
Do I have a second?
Is that the right date?
God bless
Yeah.
our seniors. All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll get there sooner or later.
We'll get there.
Last, senior trip to the Westchester Broadway Theater on October 3rd, 2019. Cost per senior $45. The net cost of the budget is $1,382.
You can't even say that because you don't know what that's based on the 44 people. That'll change. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
You don't even have to do the net cost of the budget because that number is going to change.
Okay. The bus company is JTR Transportation. The cost of the bus is $810.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's get away from trips.
Still like the first one. Next we have a quote from the Shed House up in Pauling.
No. You should have 3 quotes.
I have one quote.
Anybody else have just one quote?
Oh, any quotes?
I don't have any. Sorry.
I was going to ask
All
about
right,
that.
then let's table the shade shelter till later.
We will table the Shed House quote till later. Next, we have a request from Lost Lake Association to install a data logger in Putnam Lake. And I'm going to read the request that was presented to the supervisor. I have received a request from Larry Matchis, Esquire, President of the Lost Lake Association, to install a data logger at the outlet to Putnam Lake. The data logger will be attached to a post at the spillway in order to measure the flow and volume from the lake. Lost Lake has agreed to share any data with the town. I feel the installation of the data logger would be a positive action and recommend the town board approve its installation with the following conditions. The exact location and means of installation should be approved by the supervisor or the highway superintendent prior to the data logger being installed. Placement of the data logger in the lake should be limited to 1 year, and when the data logger is removed, all other posts or devices should be removed and the area restored to its original conditions. Sounds reasonable? So I will make a motion that we approve what I just read with regard to the installation of a data logger in Putnam Lake. So moved.
Second for discussion. Just a point of clarification. So the location will be reviewed by you, so it has nothing to do with the carp gate, and this is measuring flow characteristics out the dam into Lost Lake, correct? Correct. And so do you have a sense of what are they just looking to, do you have no idea, what
They
they're
are looking
do?
to try to understand where the water is coming from in Lost Lake. And they want to try to quantify what's coming in from Putnam Lake versus what's coming in from the watershed versus what might be coming in from groundwater.
Okay. Interesting.
We share
So-
data. They'll share the data with the town.
They said they would share the data. I'm not so sure how useful it's going to be to us
Or just-
because
just
it's
in
not
case.
what you typically do for watershed modeling.
Yeah, it's only going to measure the flow. That's a product of the width of the dam and the depth of the water. So that's
You should be able to do the same thing and model it over time so that you have a continuous run model.
Right.
By modeling it off of rainfall, land use, and watershed area.
Okay.
Is this something that's purchased or leased or?
No,
It's purchased.
500.
And is it something that's visible? Like an eyesore, or is it?
It's about this big.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna
they're
see the
gonna put a
post, but you're not really gonna see the device.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't tell the kids about it.
Yeah.
So, you made a motion?
I did.
I
He
seconded
seconded
it. Yes.
Did we vote? We didn't vote.
We didn't vote, I was
We did not.
discussing.
No, we did not.
No, we did not.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Other business? Any other business, or do you want to do that?
Sean, I think has, so I'll let him
Boy,
do
somebody
that.
has neat handwriting, I'll tell you. So we have just an announcement that the new date for the senior luncheon, which is always so enjoyed by so many, is Wednesday, May 15th. Please RSVP by Thursday, May 9th. They have an Oktoberfest menu in May. So that'll be great. Never get a chance to go to his birthday.
Charles?
Go ahead,
I have one
Charles.
thing. We have received a couple of emails from the Veterans Park Committee about doing stuff out there.
Mhm.
Some stuff to the caretaker's house and the shelter area, et cetera. I think it would be a good idea for the town board to meet with the committee and at the park and just walk through what they have in mind and what they're recommending in stages to us. I think it would be very helpful.
Two things.
Go ahead.
To say what I'm thinking.
Saturday
I'm totally
morning,
supportive.
Sat-
Saturday morning
Saturday
at 6 a.m.
At 6 a.m.
6 a.m. Be there at the B Square. I think it'd be great for the board to be able to be involved and see what is planned, but I also think that's the point of view, and I being the liaisons, and I fully support the things they've done. They've budgeted for them. These are improvements to the caretaker house, which are necessary. The other one is the gazebo project that they've been talking about. So I mean, I think it's a great idea. Whenever, like we did with Putt Lake, we all went out on a sidewalk to look at the dock structures. I think that's a great idea because we want the full support of the town board. But I think it's also our job to be representing them and helping be their liaison, so we can twist these guys' arms a little bit. But,
Well, I just think that it took a lot of money, and I think it would be worthwhile for all of us, not just you and I, but everybody else, to have a feel for what's going to go on out there.
And I'm also concerned a little bit about the way this is evolving. And again, I would hope that the two liaisons would be guiding the board. But we've received a price for re-siding and we've received a price for putting an addition on the house, but,
or you mean a deck?
or the deck, I'm sorry, yeah. No, I say that because I've also had conversations where some of the park advisory board members think we should be putting an addition on the house.
That's not
Yeah, and I don't know that I'm gonna support that, but.
Well, I'll tell you right
We've
now,
got-
it's new news to me.
So we've got a price for re-siding the house, but it's only a single price. I have no idea what they're talking about doing as far as whether it's aluminum siding,
Yeah.
vinyl siding, cedar siding. You know, there's no meat on the bone.
Right. Well, obviously, our procurement policy is we're gonna need 3 quotes on
Yeah.
a project. So that's straightforward, and they, I think, just need to make sure they're following our procedures. They're usually pretty good about that.
Yeah. So the first thing
so-
they should be doing is developing a set of specs about what they're
Right.
talking about.
So that make sure the quotes are consistent.
Correct.
Yeah. And I thought the quote said, but I'm pretty sure it's just replacing vinyl siding. It's not, anything outside of that. They also talked about the front walkway, how treacherous that has been over the years, and even our prior caretaker mentioned how the steepness on that paved macadam.
Going into the house.
Going
Yeah.
into the house, how that's gonna have to be terraced and maybe steps in the landing, and because we're gonna have a potential problem out there with someone falling and getting hurt.
But in the emails, they didn't even bring that up.
Well, that's a long-term capital project that they've been talking about, but, flip side is, I actually find that board is incredibly conscientious about spending money. In fact, they've put off projects that they decided weren't, So I think I agree with Rich, they need to make sure they follow our procurement policies, but I have not seen that board do anything that I think has been without regard for cost savings for the town and for the, so I fully support them. I think they
I
just need to
agree.
make sure we follow the procurement policy, so.
Where do you want to go with this? Do you all want to go out there, or you want to just leave it to the 2 liaisons?
Well, I mean, I've been out there, so I don't need to go out again, but would be happy to accompany everybody else, just
That
for
would
a
be
good
nice.
field trip.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I
if-
think you,
Want to take a look?
I don't mind going out there. If,
Probably wouldn't hurt to walk the whole
Yeah.
park.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
not-
good idea.
I mean, if we're spending a lot of money or we're discussing spending a lot of money,
Yeah.
I don't mind. I mean, I trust you guys, but
yeah.
it's good to get a good feel of ourselves, especially on a project this size. I mean,
Sure.
when it's putting in new bushes or putting in a new trail or something like that or whatever, it's a little different. But when major
Yeah.
capital, major projects like this, I think it's good we all check it out.
Okay, cool. So I'll reach out to Bill Yellett, see what we can do. Cool.
At night or
Gonna do a doodle poll?
Saturday morning or something.
So you like the doodle poll?
It works for me,
Yeah.
I like it. It worked.
Yeah. The only thing I want to add in there is, as this moves forward with discussions about the walk, you got to make sure it's going to be ADA compliant. It's not now.
It's never
But if
gonna.
but if
yeah.
we touch it, we have
Steps.
to, we
How
have
can
to,
it be?
well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go
It's not
back
a
to
ramp.
ADA. Yeah, there's got to be some sort of ramp, but we got to figure out how to do it.
Mm.
Because again, we're running into this time and time again where the new regs are, if we touch it, we have to make it ADA compliant.
And for a private residence?
And yes, because it's a government-owned building.
Okay. That's how to leave it alone.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying leave it alone, there's gotta be a way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Is that it?
I got one thing.
Go ahead.
I'd like to announce a new program that we've started in the county. It's called First Line. It's a peer-to-peer support program. So it's for law enforcement and first responders that are having problems, are having difficulties, that need help, that don't want to go to their own jobs or to their own bosses in fear of problems at the job. So it's a program that's free for members. This is the law enforcement flyer, but it's free to all first responders and their families too. So if there's a first responder that's having a hard time or a family member that's having difficulty because of something that's going on with their spouse or family member, they can call this number as well. It's safe. It's 100% confidential. It's an independent peer-to-peer support program, so it's not affiliated with any agency, and it's all first responders, retired and active, that volunteer. I'm part of it. We volunteer our time to answer the phone, answer the line, and we're not counselors, but we are there to support you and to direct the first responders that need help in the direction that they need it. So the phone number is 845-745-0088. So okay. And I guess can we post this on our website? I'll send
Sure,
a
you can
PDF.
send it over, sure.
I think it's a great program, and for first responders.
Can you also scan that or send it somehow to Denise and have her send it out?
Sure.
Blast it out to all of the EMTs?
Absolutely.
Via email or something?
Mhm.
Cool.
It's and just to be clear, it's a warm line, so it's not a hotline, an emergency line. So again, we're all volunteers. We most of the time we'll probably answer the phone, but if we don't, we'll get back to back to you within 10 or 15 minutes or so at most. And if there is a true emergency, we'll help you out and get help.
We want to certainly mention that May 18th, which is Saturday coming up here in a couple of weeks, the next Putnam County Household Hazardous Waste Drop-Off Day will be at Fawnstock Park in Kent. Pre-registration is required. You can call the Health Department to pre-register at 845-808-1390, and they will register you for this event. Great opportunity, as we all know, we hear this every couple of months about getting rid of your household chemicals that have accumulated under your sink, in your garage. We want to keep them so we don't have problems like we have on Commerce Drive. We want to keep from people dumping things, you know, down the drain or out the back door. So please take advantage of this great opportunity. Again, May 18th, it's from 9 a.m. to noon. My advice to anyone is register for around 11 o'clock because it's always the easiest time to get in and out of there very quickly. Everybody wants to be there first thing in the morning and they wait an hour. In fact, they'll even get there an hour early and not mind waiting an hour then to be first in line. But at 11 a.m., there's usually in and out very quick. So that's it. Thank you.
Last on my agenda is just to keep the board up to date on progress we're making on the docks. They were supposed to be delivered today. They actually were delayed. So the new scheduled date for delivery of the new docks for Warren Beach is next Tuesday and Wednesday.
Great.
So hopefully they will arrive. We can get them in and get the beaches open on time this year.
Make sure you tell Sean, because he wants to take pictures of me out of the docks.
On the slip or on the slide when we eventually get it.
On the slide.
On the
He wants you on the slide.
I do.
Public recognition, any member of the public wish to discuss any issue with the board, please step up to the mic and give your name for the record. You're gonna get trampled there, George, watch it.
Pardon me? Hey, George Disbrow, Tammany Hall Road, and I'm here representing the library. What I'd like to do at the end of the month, prior to May coming around, just to give you a quick snapshot of some of the programs that we have for adults, kids, and the teens. So the Green Book, we have a Wednesday matinee coming up on May 8th. Green Book won a couple Academy Awards at the last dinner there. We have a Beatles retrospective coming up on the 9th in the evening. There will be music and a history and some photographs. Then we have for the kids, Build a Bot and or Building a Robot. We have for the teens, we have putting on Cinderella, so there will be teen auditions for the play. The play is always a big success. And the last thing we have for the teens is a pizza and painting night, which all of these things that I've mentioned are free. I would encourage all the residents to go to our website at pattersonlibrary.org. And a last comment, just as a resident, suffer from the library, I got to get involved in that senior thing because they're getting a lot of great trips, I'm telling you.
They are.
Very nice.
You're too young,
Thank you.
though.
Yeah, you're too young. George.
Thank you, George.
That's great.
Anyone else? Motion to go into executive session?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming.